Hi, Bill from CJ Pony Parts. We all love adding horsepower to our Mustangs, but all too often, the braking system gets overlooked. While the stock Mustang brakes can get the job done, a simple pad and rotor upgrade can make a huge impact on braking performance. Today, we're going to upgrade the brakes on our 2006 Mustang using parts from Hawk Performance and Power Slide. For our installation, we chose the Hawk HPS High Performance Street Pads. The HPS uses a unique ferrocarbon material. It's going to provide 20 to 40% more stopping power, works great both hot and cold. It's also going to keep brake dust at a minimum. For rotors, we're going with vented replacement rotors from Power Slot for both the front and the rear. All of Power Slot's rotors feature this exclusive vacuum slot design, which will evacuate gases and dust as well as shedding heat. They also work to channel out water during wet conditions for superior stopping power. All of the rotors come with these fully machined hats, which are also E-coated for protection against corrosion. For this installation, you need a lift or a jack and jack stands, 3/8 ratchet, 12mm socket, 13mm socket, 15mm socket, brake caliper piston tool, a small pick, and a large set of pliers. First step is to get your car off the ground and pull the wheels off. Next, we need to remove the 2 bolts that hold the caliper to the caliper bracket. Once you remove the 2 bolts, carefully slide off our caliper. Once you remove the pads, you can rest the caliper out of the way on the control arm and remove the additional 2 retainers off the caliper bracket. Now we're going to remove the 2 bolts that hold the caliper bracket to the axle. It's going to be a little tighter than the caliper bolts are. So that bolt comes out, the bracket will come right off. Now we can remove our rotor. In some cases, you may find a little retaining washer on it holding the rotor in place. If not, just slide it right off. I'm going to slide on our new Power Slot rotor. And be careful with the rotors, they are labeled because they are size specific. Keep on there, pull a little sticker off. Once we have the rotor on, you can now reinstall our caliper bracket. Now we need to press the piston back into the caliper to be able to put our new pads on. Fortunately, you can see at some point in time, somebody pressed it back in and didn't lubricate it. It had a small tear in the boot. We should be okay. That should be good enough. So the piston pressed in, and reinstall the lower retainer here. And we're ready to install our pads. Now we're going to put the pads in place. And ready to reinstall our caliper. Make sure everything's nice and straight. Now we're going to reinstall our caliper bolts. That completes the installation of our rear rotors and pads. We want to duplicate the process on the other side. Now we're going to move to the front. I'm going to start with the caliper bolts. We're going to rest the caliper on our lower control arm. You don't want to let it hang by the hose, it can damage the hose. Now we're going to pull off the caliper brackets. Ready to remove our rotor. In this case, we do have a washer on it. The washer should thread off. Sometimes it can be a pain to get off. Start with a small screwdriver to get it started. Once it's off, we can remove our rotor. We're ready to install our new power slot rotor. Again, they are side specific to make sure you get the correct side. We'll reinstall our retaining washer. Now we're going to remove the old pads from our brackets and install the new ones. Pull it upward, twist to remove. Do the other side. Now we got to push the pistons in before we can put them back on the car. We grab an old brake pad, line it up against the pistons, get a good sized set of pliers, squeeze them back in. Now we're ready to reinstall our loaded bracket. Now we're ready to reinstall our caliper. Once everything's tight, we're ready to reinstall our wheel. Once you get it back down on the ground, you want to torque them to the proper spec. Not only is our pad and rotor upgrade going to increase our braking power by over 20%, they look great behind the wheels too. Figure on about 2 hours to do the front and back, you'll be back on the road in no time.